We've been telling you guys about Notch Beer for a while now, and man, it's all happening. The brand new Notch Brewery at 525 Western Ave in Brighton, minutes from downtown Boston, is open for business. Just like their original spot in Salem, Massachusetts, they're brewing and serving European-influenced beer in their beer hall and beer garden, and they also have an outdoor live performance and music space. And by the time this show airs, there would have already been some live shows in the joint, man. I'm so excited. I'm heading over there actually today. And check this out. They also have a DJ spinning vinyl. So not only now do you get some of the finest brews around, you also get live music in the outdoor venue and a DJ in one of their rooms spinning vinyl. Man, you can only imagine how cool it is having a sponsor like this for your show. I am totally excited to have Notch supporting us. Notch Beer is also available at retail locations everywhere in Mass and Rhode Island, and you can order it through mail order in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania. If you haven't tried Notch yet, it's about time that you do. Get yourself a Notch Beer, or better yet, get over to Notch Brewing and tell them Twisted Rico sent you. Welcome to Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico. I'm your host, Steve Ricardo, and man, what a show we have for you today. It's kind of funny. The guys from Lovely are here. 3 of the members of Lovely were supposed to be here, but Jack Clark got stuck in traffic, but he did show up at the end, and we managed to get him on for a second to say one line, which you'll be hearing. Is kind of funny. But Craig Adams and Rick Jones were both here. We had a great interview with them, and we're going to play that for you in a couple seconds. I just want to tell you about a new documentary that just came out on Hulu that's a must-see. Now, if you've been listening to my show for a while, you know I'm a huge fan of early American soul groups and their music. We did a whole show a while back on the great Bobby Womack, and my love for artists like The Temptations, the Isley Brothers, Al Green, Otis Redding, the Supremes. I love all those groups. I have a deep love for the soul. Black artists in this country, from blues to soul to R&B, paved the way for rock and roll and disco and other genres. And without labels like Chess Records and Motown Records, would bands like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Yardbirds even ever exist? They've told you many times that they wouldn't. They were so influenced. Imagine if the Beatles never heard Little Richard. It's hard to imagine. Well, anyways, this documentary features footage that was in a vault for like 50 years, and it finally was just released, and it's absolutely incredible. I'm talking about the film called Summer of Soul, and its highlights of what some people have referred to as the Black Woodstock. It's footage that was shot in Harlem, New York in 1969. To call this film incredible hardly gives it justice. It's a friggin' masterpiece, one every music fan needs to see. Stevie Wonder, the Chambers Brothers, Sly and the Family Stone, The Fifth Dimension, the Staple Singers, Nina Simone, David Ruffin from the Temptations. They're all in the film. They all perform, and the performances are incredible. I highly recommend this. I'd give it a 5 out of 5 stars if I was rating films. It's a fantastic film. So go on Hulu and check it out. It's just, you won't regret it. It's like the Black Woodstock. It really is. It's phenomenal. All right, now we're going to play you the interview that we did with Lovely, 2 members from Lovely, Craig and Rick. And here's a track, actually, before we play the interview that was recorded right before the pandemic. This one's called 2020.
implodes. Stay the course. Inside your head explodes. Live to lie. Release the Trojan horses. Work to die. Release the twisted forces. You take it, you fake it, you kill it. You're on your way. Light the fire. The skin begins to shed. Crown the liar. The pounding in your head. Cage the free. Take the broken shiv. No eyes to see. Fight the will to live. 2020. Empty, empty. See the future. Bright and shiny. 2020. Empty, empty. See the future. So bright and shiny. Take it. You fake it. You kill it. You're on your way. Take it. You fake it. You kill it. You're on your way. Feel the force. Outside the night implodes. Stay the course. Inside your head explodes. Live to lie. Release the Trojan horses. Work to die. Release the twisted forces. Empty, empty. See the future. Bright and shiny. 2020. Empty, empty. See the future. Bright and shiny. You take it. You fake it. You kill it. You're on your way. Take it. You fake it. You kill it. You're on your way. Take it. Your future. You fake it. Your freedom. You kill it. Your future. You're on your way. Take it. Your freedom. You fake it. Your future. You kill it. Your freedom. You're on your way. You take it. Your future. You fake it. Your freedom. You kill it.
So we just heard 2020. So I guess I'm going to be the one that they can say broke the band because I played Hate on a previous show. I just played 2020, and we're going to play JetSet to end the show.
Oh, much obliged.
So this is the official lovely podcast station here.
That's correct.
So we got Craig Adams and Rick Jones. Jack Clark was supposed to be here, but he's MIA. I guess he's
stuck on 93.
Well, I wish he was here because I got a text message from Dave Smalley to say hi to him. So I'm going to have to just say it on the show, and he's going to have to hear it that way. Before I introduce you guys formally, I just want to mention that besides Jack, not here with us today, Jim Keogh, Jim Keogh. I think we used to call him Jimmy. Now he's Jim, who some of you may know as the singer from the unheralded, outstanding 80s punk band Stranglehold, a band that, a lot of people think should have been a lot bigger than they were. And I always call him Paul Delano, but you're calling Paul Delano. So I guess I say Paul's name wrong.
I think Delano is the way to go for the pronunciation there. Though Delano sounds kind of
He's
cool.
Italian.
Yeah. I think that's
wonder
probably
I
how
like
you'd
him.
say it, right?
Well,
If
he
you're in
goes
Italy
by,
or something, right?
He goes by Delano, but now that Steve has brought this up, I think we'll have to
get
make
that
a
cleared
pivot. No. We'll just make a pivot
Really?
and switch it to Delano.
I have a feeling he's going to hate that, but okay.
All the more reason.
Sorry,
Delano.
Paul. I will say this. I saw Mung several times, and they were a great band.
Absolutely.
So when I looked at this lineup of you guys, man, let me just formally introduce you. Craig, I think the first time I saw Craig was in Bipolar Coaster. I don't know, I think that.
Yeah.
And many times in the Dents.
Yeah.
That Time for Biting record in 2004 with Gino,
That's
my old
right,
pal
man. The
Gino
old
on
lineup.
drums. And of course, Jenny D and Michelle Paulus.
That's right.
We were talking about Michelle before, so not Chris Perry is not the only one that loves Michelle Paulus.
Everybody loves
We'll just
Michelle and Jen and
we'll
the
leave
Dents, absolutely.
I will have them on my show. It's only a matter of time. They will be on the show. I want it back. I played that track,
Thank you.
the new Dents song
Yeah.
that came out. I think you guys might have recorded it in 2018, and it was released during the pandemic.
Yes, exactly. We kind of had that. We released it in 2018, but once we got on Malibu Lou's Rumbar Records, we were like, let's do a release with a lot of stuff that we never properly officially put out. And so our new EP was an assemblage of like 7 songs spanning.
Can't wait to hear
15
it.
years.
Is it all on Bandcamp now?
Yes.
Okay, I've heard. I know. I want it back. When I heard that, I was like,
Oh, that's my favorite.
you know what? It's way more of pop song than you guys.
Yes.
It's not as garage. It's more poppier.
Well,
I like it.
The other songs on that, some of them were recorded in 2006, 7, and some of them have that classic kind of more aggressive. There's a lot of range and variety on that EP, is what I'm saying. And the Holly Vincent cover is totally different.
Tell that girl to shut up, Holly and the
Yeah.
Italians. I was a big Holly Vincent fan. In
But her
college
song
radio.
"Homeless" is kind of
Yeah.
a dirgy, heavy rock song, and the girls sing on that brilliantly. So anyway, that was really great. Lou is awesome, and
We're going to talk more about the
yeah.
Dents. But we'll talk about Lovely, then we'll talk about your. It's hard to ignore some of the other
Right.
bands. Then I can't believe I'm saying this, but Rick fucking Jones is in the room, man. From Jerry's Kids, one of the best live hardcore band. I'm not just saying that. I'm serious. They're amazing. You put Braintree on the map, you and Chris Doherty and a few other guys.
Yeah.
You know, for you, it started off with the This Is Boston, Not L.A. compilation. Then there were 2 albums. Is This My World, which is an internationally famous record, and Kill, 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 which we were talking about a little while ago. Welcome, Rick.
Well, thanks for the kind words. Happy to be here.
And, you know, I missed seeing Jerry's Kids live in the early 80s because I was in L.A. And it was weird because the first time I ever saw SSD was in L.A. The first time I ever saw FU's Straw Dogs was in L.A. The first time I saw Gangrene was in L.A. You know, and I wasn't around when you guys, I mean, I've watched the footage from that legendary show you guys did with the Misfits on
Channel.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, everyone has seen that. It's got 1 million views. But I'm glad to have both you guys in here. And how did it all come together? Craig kind of told me a little bit, but how did Lovely come together?
Yeah, so, Jack and I have been doing stuff for years, various kind of side projects. He'd also been doing some things with, everyone in Boston.
Every band in Boston.
I remember I sat in for a set for Unnatural Acts a couple of years ago with at a Boss Tone show, and we were in the backstage area, and Dickie said, if Jack Clark dies, the entire music scene in Boston is going to go away. And I think if you start listing all his bands that he covers drums in, it's overwhelming. But anyway, he had been doing stuff with Jimmy over the years, and then had become the drummer for Mug to fill in for Walter when he wasn't doing that anymore. And so there was a connection between all of us. And then, so we just wanted to, we had all kind of pulled together some collective work and looking for people to work with that had a similar kind of mindset about music. And so, I'm going to say Jack probably pulled us all together. Paul pulled in me and Jimmy and Craig, and we started playing together. And then Paul actually for Chris Darty's fundraiser sat in with
At the Paradise.
in with a short Jerry's Kids set, and then kind of after that we invited him to join in with us. And so it's really I think of the band as a real collaborative. Every song is input from everyone, and it's very kind of democratic process, which I love. That's the one thing I love about this band. It's everybody has a little bit different style, and everybody's open to trying anything.
Yeah, I was talking to Al Quint. We were messaging each other the other day, and he mentioned the choir boys. And I'm like, you talking about the London choir boys? He's like, no, the Boston choir boys. Jack was their drummer. I'm like, I completely missed that.
Drummer and singer. And if you
Really?
listen to that EP, and I've got it digitized, I torture Jack with it on a regular basis. His vocals on that are dynamite, and when you think he's drumming at the same time, it's killer.
Hard to do.
Yeah, Jack's vocals are kind of a hidden talent that we've been able to draw on here and there for some of our backups and various things.
And at the Boston reunion hardcore show, which I was at, 2011, I think, Jack played with DYS and Jerry's Kids in the same night.
Yeah, well, I mean,
same day, I should say.
Playing just one Jerry's Kids set is too easy for Jack. So he needed to, you got to play two hardcore sets, to call it a day.
That was quite a day, man.
Yeah.
Woo! Man, I'll never forget that show, man. And the film, too. It was really fantastic. Getting back to Lovely, I wanted to ask, now didn't you guys do something with Jimmy? Like there was like a Stranglehold reunion thing? And
Paul and Jim and Jack and Rich Hughes and myself and Greg Fiore, we did a version of Stranglehold that played at the House of Blues for the Hometown Throwdown.
Wow, big show.
In 2015, and it was just a chance to bring Stranglehold back, get them a center stage exposure, and showcase how great the band was. I think Dickie Barrett was a big fan back in the day and friends with Jim. And I always loved the band. I always thought that Stranglehold was was more Clash-like, more like the Clash in their
They weren't
sound.
hardcore. They were a punk band.
Same all over.
Punk.
She's
same
not
all
leaving.
over the world. Yeah.
Great stuff. So I played bass, and we did that show and rehearsed. We played a few other shows at once, and that was just a fantastic experience. And me and Paul are old friends. We played in the Freeze together in 1994, toured Europe back then. We go way back. We had a great time doing the rehearsals for that House of Blues show with Stranglehold, and it was just a pleasure. And that was my introduction to Jack playing drums. And boy, can he swing the lumber. I mean, my God, the guy is incredible on the drums. And so when the opportunity came up for all of us to play together, I was like, yeah, I'm in. And I don't know, it was you and Jack said, and Jimmy, let's rehearse. And we started, coming up, here's an idea. We're all have a wealth of background and styles. What do we want to sound like? Well, let's just try everything. And then we were like, we need some more help, so let's bring Paul in. So we had invited Paul to come down.
It's an all-star band.
And it's really fun. I think...
and Paul brings a lot to the table.
Oh, my God, of course.
Unbelievable.
And the thing that's tricky is that we don't know what we sound like. The three songs that we have finished, Hate, 2020, and JetSet are all completely different sounding. So I think we're kind of searching for our sound, and maybe we'll never find it, and we'll just be one of those bands that has some variety and range. hopefully.
You guys are like a hard rock band to me.
Yeah.
Pretty much a hard rock band.
That's right.
Hey, I wanted to ask about the songwriting process. How these songs come together? Who wrote the songs? Did you write them together?
Well,
or?
you know, sometimes Rick will come in with parts, chord changes. Rick's been the lyricist for pretty much everything.
You wrote the lyrics on
Yeah.
these?
Jimmy did the lyrics on Hate,
Okay.
and then we kind of, I think, collaborated on that, and then I did the lyrics on 2020 and JetSet. Yeah.
And we all just throw ideas out. You know, I'll have a song or chord progressions or a riff, or Paul will. Sometimes Paul will come in with a full song, or you'll
Right.
come in with a full song, or I will. And we just work it out, you know. And
this was all in 2019.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you end up working with Benny Grotto? And I know Ethan DeSalt from New Alliance mixed and did the overdubs, but you started with Benny. How did
That was
that
me.
all-
I was a fan of the sounds coming out of Mad Oak, you know, like Jim Healy stuff. You know, all the heavy bands coming out of there. I thought, what's that one? The Northern Skulls.
Oh, yeah, great band. Yeah.
I just thought he was getting good sounds, modern, contemporary. And so that was my idea. We went in there, had a great time. We tracked a bunch of songs, good studio. Benny's awesome. But they were busy and they couldn't take us to finish it. You know, they couldn't book time for us. So New Alliance we looked into. We came here and had about as great as an experience as Mad Oak. Don't ask me to choose one or the other. That's apples and oranges. Ethan
It's
did
a good combo.
Ethan
the
did an
two guys.
amazing job.
Yeah.
I love his mix. We were just talking with him outside. The way he mixed it was, to my ear, just the way you should do the style that we're trying to do. And so both studios are great. I'd recommend them both. Ethan was excellent, and we were real happy with the result.
And you did 3 songs. Is there more songs that you want to get in the studio and
We have
record?
already we tracked it at Mad Oak 4 or 5
Oh, you
other
did?
songs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We just, because of the pandemic, we couldn't finish.
Yeah.
And that's really what the.
So we have
really
5
what the
songs.
issue
We're
is.
going to probably do the overdubs and mixing here at New Alliance across the hall with Ethan and finish those up.
Yeah.
So do you think there's going to be a EP or a full-length record on it? Is there enough for a full length or?
We have more material
Yeah.
that is, you know, with the pandemic, we've just have a backlog of stuff we need to get through. So actually today, after tonight, actually is our first rehearsal. So we're getting back on track.
Fantastic.
So we're excited about that. But with the pandemic, we're all writing stuff, but you get to a point where the bucket is full and you need to get together in a room to work stuff out. You know,
I think Jim Keogh was a perfect singer for that because he really,
Oh.
the way he sings the songs. I mean, he just belts them. I mean, the
It's awesome.
aggression is there.
Yes.
And hard rock, I think it's just a heavy band. You know, I mean, it's not too fast, not too slow, just kind of like right down the middle and pretty hard.
Well, and again, like I said, we're those 3 songs were the ones that were the most ready to complete. The other songs we have, everything's a lot different, and that was one of the problems we have right now. You know, a lot of bands, they try to find their sound, but it's also good to show range. You know, so
You guys haven't done a show yet, right?
no, and
That's amazing.
I don't know. There's just the songs are all over the map,
yeah, we were ready. I mean, we
style wise.
we had our set down and ready to go as we were doing this recording, but we lost a year because of the pandemic.
Like everybody else,
right.
exactly right. And it's been hard for all of us, to say the least.
Right.
But is that your intention to play some shows?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep. As soon as we are ready. And as far as, you know, the other material and the songs, we got to find a way to put them out and, you know, put them out all together. That'll be something we're going to get to work on
Do you think
tonight.
there might be a label involved in this? Or
That
are
would
you
be
gonna
great. We don't have anything right now. Like we've been saying, we were just about to jump off this diving board into the pool here, and it just all got shut down. So, like everyone else who has a band project, we're navigating our way forward now, and can't wait. I can't wait to see shows, to see everybody in our great music scene out and about in the clubs and playing. It's been awful not having that outlet, and denying the social interaction for a year and a half has been, for me personally, brutal, completely brutal. So it's great to get back to that, and I can't wait.
What kind of a venue or what kind of other bands do you see this band playing with? I mean, are you going to reach out to some of your old buddies, other bands, or are you just going to hit the clubs and say, who wants to book us? I mean, what's your plan?
That's an excellent question. I think we're going to do all of that. I think we could play with anyone. But definitely, we're going to call up our friends and people that know us well. And, I think a lot of people our peers,
you
that we
mentioned Northern
respect.
Skulls. Glenn was
What a
on
great
my
band.
show.
Great band.
Glenn, you guys know Glenn, obviously, Gangrene, but Northern Skulls and you guys
That's
actually
exciting.
fit together
Yeah.
well.
Actually, Glenn and I have actually talked about that would be a good fit. with both
Absolutely.
bands
Cortez
playing
is
together.
another one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's
Cortez,
some
great
Boston
band.
bands that you guys would fit in.
Great band.
I hope the band goes, further than Boston too, and gets it out there. I mean, I think once the word gets out on who's in the band,
It's all just fun. I mean, we're all doing it for fun, and we have a lot of respect for the scene here and for all kinds of different bands and styles. And, we've all played in different bands and different styles. And the pandemic made me reflect on all of that. And I really appreciate the scene here and all the people.
Yeah, Boston's a great place to be. LEV from the Charms, I was talking to her and she brought up a real dichotomy about this band. You call yourselves Lovely, and you got a band called Hate. Your song called Hate is like one of your first songs.
That's like the guy in Full Metal Jacket who wears the peace symbol on his helmet. And the guy says, "Why do you have a peace symbol on it?" He says, "The duality of man, sir."
So who came up with the name?
I don't know.
We collectively, you know what? The truth is, we had a running list. It was probably 2 pages long of names,
Horrible names,
horrible names that we would, at the end of practice, I would pull out and go. We go back and forth on, and then I think we culled it down to about 6, and then we sent them out to some folks in the industry and different people that we'd like to get some feedback back, and I think we got it down to 2, and then
So a lot of people voted for Lovely.
yeah, we ended up getting feedback, and that's where it kind of came in. But I still have the list is probably still in my bag.
Well, I like the name Lovely because it makes people uncomfortable a little
There's
bit.
a lot of new bands out there that like to get a hold of that list, I bet, because people are having a hard time naming their bands these days.
It's the list got very entertaining. A lot of late night scribbles that seemed good at the time, and then the next morning was kind of like, I don't know what was going on, but that doesn't make any sense.
But I like it because it's contradictory and funny, and puzzling and confusing, and makes you think for a minute. What? The band is called Lovely? That doesn't make any sense. It's like that band Handsome, or something like that. So we went with it. We are not really lovely sounding, but we are lovely looking. Especially,
Well,
I think I am.
Well, you're a
Very
very
lovely.
you're a
Lovely
very
guy.
handsome man, Craig. That's
Handsome
for sure.
man. So
But,
that's what it's all about. It's about being handsome, lovely,
Well, I like the name. I think the name's lovely, actually. I like
and
that.
also well dressed. Like Jim wants us to wear, dress nicely, look like
you
I don't know,
serious?
Paul Weller, like Paul Weller or someone like
okay.
that. A clothes horse type of aesthetic.
well, listen, I don't want to go down the Wellerman road. That's a dangerous ground.
Well, no sandals on stage, no cargo shorts. Remember, there's some rules
no
are starting to
cargos,
emerge.
long pants.
Right?
Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah.
Tight haircuts, everything clean shaven.
Yeah.
You need a stylist? I mean,
So,
I can
lovely.
recommend one.
Well,
We're
have
going to
one.
need a stylist to
We
tour
have
with us.
we have one, Jimmy.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
So I mean, we
Jim Keogh did he not do anything for a long time?
Well, here's the thing that is awesome about Lovely is you get to hear how great he is as
He
a
is.
vocalist and how
Yeah.
strong and powerful. And it's a little, I think everybody wanted or expected Lovely to sound like the Oysters or, I Can Feel the Fire. Do you know that song that he
Yeah.
did with them?
Yeah.
Or Stranglehold. And it isn't. It's different than that. It's more hard rock. It's hate. His delivery on that, his cadence, his phrasings, you understand him clearly. And the power is awesome.
I
And,
loved going along with and reading the lyrics when I was listening to those
great
songs.
lyrics from you.
Yeah,
and
there's
Jim
a
on
little
that.
political stuff going on there, which I'm
Sure.
down with. I mean, I think that everyone should have a message. You guys,
Sign of the times.
yeah, you guys have a good message. During the pandemic, what were you guys doing, man? How did you get through all that? I know you had a little rough run there, right, Craig?
Well, yeah, I had COVID and I got it late in the game in April, and I had it bad. I had it for 2 weeks. I had nonstop fever, horrible coughing fits, aches and pains.
Right before you could get the vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
What a bummer, man.
I mean, all the
Jeez.
symptoms. I had every single one. And it was scary. I wish people could understand when you get a severe case of it. It made me realize the whole reason we were locking down, wearing masks, was to protect people who are immune compromised and elderly. I don't think what I had, if my mom or dad had it, I don't think it would have been good. I think it would have killed them. And I think people need to fear it a little bit more. I still have residual breathing issues, and I'm going for a chest X-ray, and I'm a little worried about lung scarring. But by and large, I've recovered from it,
I'm
and that's
glad
the
you did,
thing.
man.
And the one thing that's weird is a lot of people have it, and they don't have as bad a reaction as me.
I think
But-
when you made the announcement about it and everyone saw it and they were like, people that didn't think they could get it were like, anyone can get this.
Yeah, I just you don't want to. I mean, people. I understand. Look at JJ Gonsoon, and once she's lost her club because of the lockdown and the quarantine. A lot of people have restaurants and businesses were decimated financially and lost. So I get that. I mean, people
Small
are angry.
businesses were
They're like, really? We
yeah.
have to shut down our society and our business. So I get all that, but I'm telling you, man, shit is serious, and you don't want to get it and transmit it to someone you love who is compromised or
When you have older parents, my parents are in their 80s.
that's what the crux of
That's
it
what I
is.
thought about. I couldn't hug my mother for a year. It was really a.
But aside from that, for all of us, we had to stay indoors, couldn't go out. I mean, everybody knows.
What did
this
you do
was
to
like.
occupy yourself? I mean,
well, we
did
did
nothing.
We did before the second surge. We had a rehearsal because we were just kind of chomping at the bit. It's hard to sit in your room and write stuff alone if you're used to collaborating. And then you get to a point where how much stuff can you, if you keep posting stuff, it gets overwhelming. So we did get together and did the whole mask rehearsal, and it was good. It was, I mean, we enjoyed it, but trying to play that kind of music with a mask on, and then we're all worried about each other, right? We don't want to. That was before being able to get injected, and we didn't want to. One person show up and then we're all sick, and so we kind of put it off. But that's why we're so excited about getting together tonight to open up that can again.
Yeah, I think everybody out there who has band projects has got to be ecstatic and looking forward to being able to rehearse and play live again. I know I am. We all are.
Oh yeah. When writing and playing is a part of your life and you take that away, it's like your life is missing something. There's like a hole there, and everyone around you then pays the price for that. So I would suggest probably our collective loved ones are thrilled that we're getting together tonight and getting us out of the house.
I want to ask you guys some questions about some of your other bands, your older bands, or whatever. I hope you don't mind if I have to do this. Okay, I have a Jerry's Kids question that I've talked about other people with, and some people that I know, I think know everything, don't even really know the answer. So I'm going to try and see if we can get this resolved.
All
here.
right.
A lot of people have talked about the songs that were recorded during the This Is Boston, Not LA session.
Mm-hmm.
And people do insist that there are songs that have never been released.
Right.
There are songs that have never been released and they've never seen the light of day. Is that basically will they ever see the light of day, or?
Yeah, so we have a couple things. We have tapes of Boston Not LA songs that we didn't release, and then we also have a full demo EP that was never released, and we also have a live 8-track of live performance from the Paradise that's never been released.
Okay, there's a lot of people squirming right now about this.
Well,
Three?
what we did was we baked we had all those tapes baked so they're preserved. Actually, Tom Hamilton is holding them for us, and so we've gone back and forth with what it would take to kind of finish those off and make them a good enough quality that we could put them out. And at our last kind of show, kind of the final show at the Middle East, we also taped and recorded that entire show. So we've talked about packaging everything.
So you got a
out.
box set basically planned.
We've talked about it, but we have some inertia, around, what's the best way to kind of pull it together.
So is Brian on some of these, or are you singing, or who's in the band? I mean, what's the...
So the Boston Not LA stuff is Brian's vocals. The demo
Brian
is
Jones, your
Brian
brother we're
Jones,
talking about.
Brian Jones, my brother. So he's on that, and just phenomenal vocal delivery. I mean, you feel everything coming out of him on those recordings. So even when I pull them out now and play them, of course he's my brother. So, but just hearing those isolated vocal tracks, you just feel every ounce of them coming out.
Is Wikipedia correct in saying that he had to leave the band after he broke his leg and your parents wouldn't let him play in the band? Is that the real story?
100% accurate. And he was the most intense live performer back then. And
you guys were young too.
Yeah, so he probably was 15 when that happened.
Wow.
And he broke his leg mid-show. And... Really? Oh, yeah. And then finished the show laying on the floor.
Do you remember what show that was?
Yeah, it was at, Media Workshop. Yeah. That was
Gallery.
Media Workshop.
Media Workshop. Okay.
Up the stairs.
Yes.
So, and then my parents were, I'm not sure where they were living at the time. Brian and I were living together, and they were just, because he was young and he broke his leg, they just said, not going to let you do that anymore. So then we went back and forth trying out different vocalists. And then when we were doing the demo, I just did some tracking vocals, and then it was close to Brian, so we just ended up going with that. It wasn't like I was looking to do that.
The other unrecorded material, is any of that with Doherty in the band, or is it like, what version of the band is it? Chris
Chris isn't on that, on the demo stuff.
Or the live ones you mentioned?
The live one, honestly, that's a really good question. I think it's Dave, back to Dave at that point.
And we should mention that Rockin' Bob, since he was there for all of them.
Of course.
Hi, Bob.
Yeah.
Just want to give Bob a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know who's on
Brian on drums.
Right. Brian on drums at that Paradise show. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable drummer.
He was in Gangrene also, and Mallet Head.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about Glenn Stilfen before, so we'll give Mallet Head a little mention too.
Yeah, you're talking Brian Betzger.
Yes,
Brian Betzger is just amazing.
Absolutely.
unbelievable music.
Yeah, some of these drummers we were talking about Jack, Walter, and Brian.
Unbelievable.
Jim Janota is probably the only other one that's in that category, you know? And
They're all excellent.
Yeah,
they're all
great
different,
drummers.
very unique, each one to one another.
I got to see Walter the most, possibly because I worked with the outlets, and
phenomenal.
Walter was just.
When I did that tour with the Freeze, I got to play bass and be the rhythm section with Walter, and I'll attest to his excellence.
Walter was on that tour too.
Yeah.
Wow,
and he's very creative. He has a very unique, discernible style. His fills,
and he can drink a beer while he's playing.
And his
too.
power and creative too, very creative fills, and he's fantastic.
He makes the songs better.
He does. He actually does.
Absolutely.
And Paul will tell you, in Mung, he was fantastic. So obvious, his drumming speaks for itself, and the outlets and all the other thousands of bands he's been in.
Getting back to Jerry's Kids for one more second. So you think there may be some future releases?
Yeah, Bob and I have talked about it and talked to the other guys about it, about packaging it all up. It's about getting together and actually being able to do the work. And again, pandemic kind of screwed that up because we had the stuff from 18 kind of all pulled together and ready to go. So we'll probably explore that over the next few months here.
Who exactly are all the guys from Braintree, just to get that out there? Braintree, Mass. is on the South Shore of Boston. It's considered a famous town because all these great musicians came from there. Like, is it your whole band and Gangrene and...
Yeah, so all the Gangrene guys, all the Jerry's Kids guys... We all grew up in Braintree, and for a bunch of us, we're all literally houses away from each other. A couple.
Is Richie
over.
Parsons from there too? Because he was
Quincy.
That's where the Bartons are from, which is right next door.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we were kids, we used to all go into the Rat and sneak in through the back door or the Channel. We'd go there in the afternoon and sneak in when the bands are loading in. So we all found a way to kind of hang out with those guys.
Jerry's Kids wasn't really part of the Boston crew. You guys were kind of on your own, right?
Well, we're always kind of on the outside. I think that band is, again, part of that is probably our personalities a little bit. But we hung around with all those guys. So whether it's the SSD guys and DYS guys and...
Dave said to say hello before the show because he just happened to be texting me, and I know you guys go way back together.
Oh, yeah. And FUs, us and FUs, we used to do a lot of shows together and hang out all the time. So, I would say our music was just a little bit different than what some of them were doing, probably.
Right. Still part of the Boston hardcore original crew, for sure. Craig, I know, the Dents are like one of the best garage rock bands in the last, 20 years or
Wow,
something.
Thanks for saying that. I agree. Over the years, I've had so much fun. We've played sporadically in the last 10, 12 years, but in our heyday in the Abbey Lounge and everything, those were really good times.
I think that's where I met you, at the Abbey Lounge.
And it's just I love it. And I'm real happy the new EP so well received and that we're remembered. We've had some good press and articles of late. And I can't say enough good about that band and the experience playing.
And you know what I can say? This show's coming out this week, and you have a show Friday night.
Friday.
23rd.
With Watts, the Dogmatics, and Stop Calling Me Frank.
All classic.
Still trying to figure out why you can't call them Frank.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it. That's good.
That's a pretty damn good bill. And that's at Boynton Yards. I mentioned it at the end of the show, too. I'll mention it at the end of the show. It's in right here in Somerville. So
that's right.
If anyone's out there listening, they want to see a real rock show, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah, I can't
to.
wait. I look forward to that very much so. And I'm glad that Once gets to continue its legacy as, promoting live music, local music and such. And I guess they have an outdoor venue in Boynton Yards that
where the heck is Boynton Yards? We're in Somerville, but I don't know where that is. It's got to be close to here.
I could be wrong, so I shouldn't say this.
Windsor is the name of the
I think it's where the old jam spot used to be. Remember where the rehearsal complex was?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think it's there. Is that right?
I put it in my map.
It's a
device,
parking
and
lot.
I'm not quite sure.
It's like a big wide open space, and it was just a space where they could do shows and get the licensing and such.
5 o'clock doors. I like that. When you start to get up there like me, you like the early shows.
Yeah, the 2 a.m. nights don't work so easily, but I still enjoy them. Yeah, that's going to be great. I really look forward to it, and it's been nice rehearsing, with the Dents and working with Malibu Lou and Rumbar Records to promote the new EP.
Lou's great,
and all the other great bands on his label that he advocates for. He's just a tireless promoter of local music, much like yourself, Steve.
Thank you. Lou was on the show, and he dropped more names than anyone in the history of this show.
I don't doubt it. He's probably he knows and has been and seen a lot of things in that regard. So of course.
And we mentioned Michelle before. You guys were also in the Decals together.
Oh yeah, going
on the
back
Twisted
even
Rico
further.
2000
That's right,
compilation.
man. That's right.
So we did meet before the Abbey Lounge because that was in 2000. So that was 21 years ago.
Yeah, that's
21
nice.
years ago.
Decades.
God almighty. That's the time, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. And all the changes and the way things have, evolved. And all the clubs that are gone, these days.
Yeah, well, Rick especially, because the Channel was like you have a real history with that club. I mean, you played so many shows there. That Misfit show is
incredible. The footage from that Misfit show is great, and the Misfits are great.
Intensity of that show was just.
And I think that is the first show we did with Chris and the band.
Wow!
So that was his debut with us.
I would say my most favorite club here in Boston of all time is definitely the Channel. That was an incredible.
Saw a
club.
lot of shows.
Do you
there.
remember the Cage where the DJ would play music?
Yeah.
Well, that DJ or DJs would always play something that I would pick up on and be like, "That's awesome," and I could go over and say, "What did you just play?" And they'd tell me. I liked it that in between bands, somebody was playing cool music. That was kind of you don't always. Sometimes at clubs they just put on whatever in between bands, but that DJ was trying to focus on playing music that was appropriate to the live act of the evening.
If you grew up around here, you're pretty lucky and spoiled because the Rat and the Channel. I mean,
such
come
a great,
on, man,
and the Channel had so much space, and it was tiered, so you could get back and still see the show. Great PA.
I saw
stage.
some incredible shows there too.
Yeah.
I mean, when the Neighborhoods played their release show for Reptile Men, and Cheap Trick came out and joined them
Remarkable.
for like 3 or 4 songs. That was amazing. I saw Echo and the Bunnymen there once, and that was pretty sick too. I mean,
Ministry, Stiff Little Fingers in '88, Danzig, Ramones, countless
Motorhead.
times. Motorhead.
you guys got to go to more shows there than I did.
Butthole Surfers.
Butthole Surfers in '86.
Who else did
The
Jerry's kids
Residents.
play with?
Residents.
Did Jerry,
Nick Cave,
who else
Roy
did,
Orbison. It goes on and on.
Roy Orbison played at the Channel?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
3 days later, he passed away, too.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, incredible. Big Audio Dynamite. So many shows I can recall seeing there.
Oh yeah.
As we all can.
What neighborhood in Boston did you grow up in?
I grew
Craig?
up on Cape Cod.
Cape Cod.
I'm a Cape Cod. I got sand in my shoes.
No wonder
son.
you ended up in the freeze.
Oh yeah, that's Bill Close and
Prerequisite.
Cliff are old friends of mine, going way back. Joe Coons, who used to play in the band, Scott Mollison on the drums, Lou Cataldo. All those guys are fantastic.
They're all Cape guys? You're giving Braintree a run for their money.
Yeah,
here.
the Cape. Well, much like Jerry's kids, I think the Freeze were a bit of outsiders.
We were talking about that before. The Freeze and Jerry's Kids are two of the bands that seem to get. Although I got to tell you though, if you try to find the original pressing of "Is This My World," it's like a lot of money, man. That's a tough record to get a hold of. It costs a fortune to find. That thing is like valuable.
Yeah.
Exclaim, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 sealed original
You have to give me one
copies
because I
left.
have you in the show, right?
That's it. Well, we auctioned it for Chris, one of them for Chris's fundraiser, and to your point, got a good chunk of change for
Yeah,
it.
I bet.
It's funny. My time in the Freeze was in the '90s, and I did albums with them for a label called Lost and Found in Germany.
Oh yeah.
And we did one was called Freak Show, and we did an EP with a Chicago band called the Boll Weevils, and we did 4 songs. And we also did an album for Dr. Strange called
California
One
label.
False Move, and that had artwork by Edward Gorey on it. Cliff and I used to go to the Cape Museum cinema. They'd show these art house movies in the winter when we'd all be on unemployment and addicted to crystal methamphetamine. Just kidding. And Gory would be there. And Cliff struck up a relationship with him and asked him to do the artwork. And he said yes.
Wow.
And did the front and back cover and liked Cliff. Didn't like me. I think he found me annoying, which bummed me out. But Gory did like Cliff very much.
How could anyone find you annoying?
No,
Craig?
I think I was younger then, and I was like, oh my God, Gary Gory, you're so cool, and your gothic drawings and such. I don't know, he didn't take to me, but he did with Cliff and thought he was the coolest.
Yeah, clearly insightful.
Edward Gorey didn't think so. I'm still wounded from that. But anyway, that album, Gory signed 1,000 of them that we did, and those are become.
I think I know where this is going. So those are the extra zeros at the end now.
Yeah, exactly. I have a couple of those. But anyway, that was and those albums in that mid-'90s period with the Freeze have found an audience because of YouTube and because of promotion and because of, Cliff's lyrics are so dark and twisted and bizarre. His stories, in a strange way, the Cape is like Twin Peaks. It's like just bizarre people down there. Very creative, Twilight Zone, strange, unique thing about the Cape. And so that connects with people. I'm happy that those albums found an audience. And it's cool how these days with YouTube and other social media, you can still push your old band and, like Jerry's Kids. And you go and look at all these old bands and you see, thousands of people viewed this and looked at that, whatever.
Yeah, all the Jerry's Kids and Freeze stuff is on Spotify,
it's
too.
Great.
So.
It's great. And it makes me very grateful because it's music that would otherwise have just lamented and fallen by the wayside. So, and it's good stuff. And I think a lot of other bands can relate to what I'm saying, is that it gives you this extra push. And looking back in hindsight, especially now that, what the hell? There's no music movement now. There's nothing going on. There's no grunge movement or punk or hardcore or even electronic music or whatever. There's nothing going on. And so when you look back in the old days with all these different styles and movements that galvanized young people together to go to shows, geez, I wish it was like that today.
The great philosopher, Craig Adams. Well, listen, guys. Hey, thanks a lot, man, for coming down. I'm sorry Jack couldn't make it, but, Rick and Craig, and, like I said, I'm really into your band.
I think you need to do a separate podcast
with
Jack Clark.
I agree.
With a list of all of his bands, and he'll give you all of the Jack Clark insights.
Yeah, I'm learning more and more about him every day. I just thought Jack Clark was a baseball player, but I'm learning more and more about the real Jack
Got to peel
Clark.
back the onion level layers with him for sure.
Well, thanks a lot, man. It was great having you guys on the show, and we're going to continue to support the band. We're going to listen to JetSet right now. So
appreciate
right on.
it.
Take care,
Steve.
guys.
Thank you.
Saw Jesus on the street. tell me that I could be free. We're moving on, man, we got the keys. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the jet set? 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 Bright lights and non-stop flights. I push the buttons to turn us bright. Simple syrup that lets you glow. Sweet and shiny, time to roll. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the jet set? 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 We're coming for you, babies. We're coming for your dreams. We're giving you no choices. We're using our machines. We're coming for you, babies. We're coming for your dreams. We're giving you no future. We're using our machines. We're coming for you, babies. We're coming for your dreams. We're giving you no future. We're using our machines. Are you ready for the jet set? Are you ready for the jet set? Are you ready for the jet set? Are you ready for the jet set?
It is Jack with Lovely and Rico, man. Sorry I missed the interview. And you guys are listening to Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico.
Wow, man, I'm still buzzing after that. To have that much star power in one room, very exciting. That track you just heard, by the way, was JetSet, the third song that Lovely recorded from their 3 songs they recorded right before the pandemic hit. And you heard all about that during the interview, which is amazing. I wanted to mention there's a lot of shows happening everywhere, and hopefully people will stay healthy and that we can continue to go in the positive direction that we're going in, because enough is enough. I mean, seriously, I'm not going to get political, but I think getting vaccinated at this point, if you haven't, is a really good idea, especially if you want to get out there and party, you know. Some of the bands whose members have been on this show that I know are doing shows this year are Field Day, The Darts, Milk Toast and Company, Jack O'Pierce. There's shows popping up every day. Locally, if you're in the Boston area, there's a really good show Friday night. You're listening to this show now, this Friday. Rumbar Records, because we had Lou Mansdorf on our show not too long ago. They're doing a show Friday at a place called the Boynton Yards. It's actually put on by the Once Ballroom. Watts, the Dogmatics, the Dents. Craig was just on the show. Craig is also in the Dents. And Stop Calling Me Frank. That's a 5 p.m. doors, $15 to get in. Boynton Yards, 0 Windsor and Somerville, some Somerville, as some people like to call it. So I would definitely check that out if you're in the neighborhood. And if you're in a different city, I'm sure there's shows everywhere going on that you can check out. I want to thank everyone that's been supporting the show on patreon.com/Twisted Rico. Feel free to join the club. I'd love to have the support. If you want to reach out to me, twistedrico@gmail.com. Also on Instagram, @Blowing Smoke with TR. There's also an @Twisted Rico page. You can reach me there. We also have a YouTube page, which you can subscribe to and like, and I'd love to have you do that. I want to thank our engineer here at Voice Motel, Mike Nash. If you want to check out another podcast I'm on that Mike also engineers, it's called Seems to Me with Sibylline Seriano. All these shows are available on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Google, Breaker, etc., even YouTube. All right, till the next time we say goodbye, this is Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico. I'm your host, Steve Ricardo. Keep the rock and roll alive.